Now, if he ends up going 10 feet or 20 feet, you can only do it here and you can only do it there because you're slow like me. It'll still work. But the thing is that you give him the direction as soon as he obeys that direction, you give him another one, called short arc. You do that about a half a dozen times if it takes that many, and he'll suddenly stop, and he'll look over his shoulder and say, "What the H do you want? You told me to go this way, you tell me to go that way, you tell me to go this way. Make up your mind. What do you want?" And at that point, you then again say, "Just want you to be a horse." And you just stand there and do whatever. Chances are very good that he'll come into you. If he does not, you can walk up to him, get real close to him, don't touch him. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And you just mentally picture that horse following you, turn around and come back to the center or go someplace else. And he will almost always follow you. Why? Because he is acclimated into a herd situation with you as the leader, he is the follower, and wherever you go, he will go. With the exception of if you have a horse that's here and you're standing here, and you suddenly decide that you want to go somewhere else in that round pen, and you move here, chances are very good that the horse will not follow you. And the reason that the horse will not follow you is because he has to do two things in addition to a thing that you just don't do to a leader. One of the things that he has to do is he has to move his hindquarters this way while moving his front quarters this way. And he has to move into your space. He has to encroach the respect zone. And it will be very, very difficult for him to do that because you don't bite leaders, you don't run over top of leaders, you don't get in leaders' way. Leaders have the right. You honor those rights. And that's one of the reasons why the horse does not follow, and people get hung up on that. If you want the horse to follow you, you then start out here by moving this way. All the horse has to do is move in this direction. And he's not encroaching into your space, and he's not having to do a half a dozen different things at once. Once you have this connection with the horse that we were talking about here, where the horse has acknowledged that you're the leader, it is the follower, you can ask that horse to do anything you want to do, with the exception of two things. You cannot ask it to do something that it cannot do, and you cannot ask it to do something that will cause it pain. Those are the two things. If you want to, if you have a horse that will not let you put fingers in its nose, in its ears, or whatever, and you put the horse through this procedure and you've got it to where it's following you along and it appears to have accepted this scenario right here, you get the horse out here and you stick your fingers in his nose and all of a sudden he just says, "No," and goes shooting away. That is blatantly telling you, no, not going to do that. At that point, he has broken this connection. So then you can reestablish this connection by doing the same thing. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Brings it back here to the center. And then you can say to him, "Now you're going to let me stick your fingers in your nose?" And because you're not hurting him or whatever, he'll let you do that. But one of the things that people say, okay, if he lets you stick fingers in his nose and he's never been ridden before, he'll let you put the saddle on him and ride him. The chances are extremely, extremely, extremely good that he will indeed let you do that. But that is not something that you want to do. You can take a horse that, you can take pretty much any horse, put him through this procedure, and you can be riding that horse in 30 minutes. You see it done all the time by these gurus who are on TV and Discovery Channel and whatever else. They go and they work this horse, and 30 minutes later they got a saddle on it, they got this retired old jockey sitting on the thing, and they're riding him around, and everybody's going, "Wow, broke the saddle." Don't bet on it. Don't do that. Because yes, the horse will allow you to to put the saddle on will allow you to get on him almost always, initially, but if something happens that causes that horse to momentarily forget this, you're in a world of trouble. And you need to establish some groundwork to get up to that point. Do not attempt to saddle and ride a horse in 30 minutes. It takes a lot of wet saddle blankets to make a good horse. And you have to start in a sequence of stepping stones. You have to build one thing on top of another. This procedure will lull you into such a sense of complacency because of the attitude changes that it puts in this horse that you may be tempted to do some stupid things. And saddling a horse that has never been saddled before and getting on that thing is dangerous and foolhardy. But you use this connection that we establish here with this herd dynamics procedure to get the horse to the point where you can put the saddle on. You have this horse and you're connected with it. You basically say to the horse, okay, you're right here. You're going to accept whatever I want to do within reason. You're going to accept a quick move. And if the horse goes off, you can then say to the horse, oh, excuse me, go this way, go this way, go this way, come back. The power here is in that all of a sudden when the horse left, he has left the security of your herd. He has left the good graces of the leader. So then we say, do this, do this, do this, do this. We're reestablishing that we are leader. He's a follower. He comes back. Then we do the same thing again. We snap our hand to swat away an imaginary fly. We kick a clod of dirt. We thump a stool down. And if he goes away, we do the same thing again. We go here, come back. We don't want to work up a sweat ourselves. We don't want to work up a sweat on the horse. We want everything to be low-key, nonchalant. And it gets to the point where the horse allows, it doesn't matter what you do, the horse just stands there and goes, oh, it's just goofing off again. At that point, you have the horse saturated to anything any sudden moves that can go around. The next step is, okay, now I want you to allow me to pick up whichever feet. Just grab them and pick them up. And as long as the horse does not resist to that, everything's cool. Then it's putting the bridle on, it's doing all these little things, these stepping stones, getting the horse used to these things, and then progressing to the next step. And how long it takes the horse to get used to these things depends on the individuals, it depends on the equipment, it depends on you, it depends on the horse, it depends on the weather, it depends on any number of things. But you have to have a feel for when, okay, the horse is used to this and settle for it. A lot of people get on a horse and they go round the round pen or whatever pen a couple of times and they say, wow, he broke saddle and they're going off on a trail ride. And one thing leads to another and they have all these successes that pop along and they come along so quick that the next thing you know, within a week and a half, they're doing rollbacks and they're doing all these exotic maneuvers and everything. And one day they go to hop over a little tree that's laying down in the trail and the horse blows up. And then they start saying, oh, he's afraid of trees. Probably not. What happened is that back here in one of these steps, something got overlooked or something got glossed over, you went by something so fast that it has a bearing over here. It could be you hadn't trained the horse to the bit that gets him to blow up going over this log.